What if I told you that one of the fastest growing cities in the city of California, a city where you can still buy a modern 4-bedroom or bigger home for the low 600,000s, is the exact same city where people are complaining about 2+ hour commutes, traffic bottlenecks, and property taxes pushing, sometimes exceeding 2%. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing a deep dive on what it looks like to live in the city of Menifee, California. And I want to start this off by saying this isn't going to be your typical pros cons list. This is going to be a comprehensive market analysis on the state of Menifee today. And this is built around what real commuters, people moving to the area, people researching the area, so young families, investors, home buyers, home sellers, what they're searching, Googling, Redditing, TikToking, YouTubing right now. But before we get into all that, my name is Justin King. My wife Allison and I run a small real estate team here in Southern California, specialize in helping folks like you, people looking to relocate, researching the area, researching the adjoining cities, and we help all over Southern California. So whether you're thinking something next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now, we'll still be around, and we are here to be your go-to real estate resource for the area. And real quick, before we dive too far into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as we are posting content weekly, and also hit the notification bell so you get alerted when we post new updates. Lately, we've been posting quite a few times a week. And if you know anybody that could get some value from this, please share it with them. It helps the channel grow. It means the world to me because I do enjoy making these. And also my contact information is somewhere around there, so you can reach out days, evening, nights, weekends. We're here to serve and support you on the highest possible level. And with all that out of the way, let's dive into the 5 truths of what you need to know before making the decision to move to Menifee, California. All right, now let's be honest. Menifee really started developing beyond what it was around the mid-2000s. Of course, a recession hit that area like many others, but the recent massive draw to it is affordability and new construction. And with that said, in 2025, it feels like that landscape is starting to shift. So as of late 2025, the average home price in Menifee is priced right around $575,000. And when you compare that to the more coastal areas, like say the Orange Counties, the LAs, or even the San Diego, I know there's a lot of folks looking from San Diego up in this direction, where the average prices are well over $850,000, and I mean, sky's the limit out there. Menifee at the high 500s looks really incredible, especially considering that you can get a new construction home on a larger lot with, 4 or 5+ bedrooms. And when you consider you got builders like Pulte, KB, Lennar, DR Horton, and tons of others pumping in thousands of new homes, really building up these communities, that can obviously be very appealing, especially considering a lot of these folks looking for homes are coming from those coastal areas like we mentioned. Like I said, that $850,000 is going to be a 3-bed, 1-bath built in the 1950s or 1960s. And then of course, to every pro, there's going to be a con. So the con to the affordability and the new construction aspect is going to be the property taxes. Now, the base property tax in the county of Riverside is right around 0.08. When you factor in typical special assessments like storm drains, city lights, stuff to kind of keep the immediate area going, that jumps up to about 1.12%. So when you're figuring taxes, 1.12, it'll keep you safe. If you want to put buffer in there, do it at about 1.2%. Most of your lenders already factor that. But when you're looking at cities like Menifee, areas with a lot of new construction going on, that 1.2 is not super accurate. In 2025, 2026, figure 2%. So about 0.8% difference. So I know when I do a lot of my research for these, it seems like a super highly Googled term is going to be special assessments, tax rates, Mello-Roos, CFDs, and property tax rates. Now, what does that all mean? So now I know a 0.6, 0.8, 0.9% difference doesn't sound like a lot. And when I see a lot of these Reddit threads with people just kind of perplexed about what does that mean? Why would it be 1.8 versus 1.2 versus 1.9 versus 2.1? Anyways, basically why so high? What those fees, what that extra 0.6, 0.8, 0.9, what that pays for, what that funds, it's going to be tying the new community into the existing infrastructure of the city. And in some cases, it's going to be adding that green belt, those walking trails, and the maintenance of them. Those are going to be the fees to fund, the new police station, the new schools, tying into existing infrastructure, like we said, like the streets, the utilities, water, electricity, sewer, and of course the roads, everything that's going to make these new communities more attractive. Now you do get the nice new shine, but there's of course a cost. And with that said, Something I don't see online very often is typically those fees, they'll have what's called a sunset date. Usually it's about 25 to 40 years. I've seen them as low as about 15 to 20, but that's pretty rare. So now when you are looking at new construction or you're factoring new construction, if you're using those online calculators, they're not super accurate. They're going to start your property tax because it's auto-populated. I think they usually do about 0.78. So if you can, when you're trying to do this on your own, just put that in. It'll make your life a lot easier and hopefully eliminate that initial payment shock when you start shopping for these. So, okay, now with that said, that was pro and kind of con number one. Pro is going to be affordability, new construction. The flip side to that, like we discussed at length, is going to be the property taxes. And with that said, most new communities are going to be close to about 1.92%. I've seen some out of the area. In Redlands, there was one at about 1.6. Riverside had one at about 1.8, but obviously it's going to vary from area to area. And when you are looking at resale, it's not 100% all of them are 1.2. If you go older than 2000, that's a pretty safe bet. After that, it gets a little wonky. So when you're working with your real estate person or your lender, just have them look into the area when you're shopping. All right, so now we'll go into the second part of this. This is going to be strain versus growth. So as we kind of discussed earlier, Menifee is absolutely booming. They're adding off-ramps, they're improving the freeway access. But now with that said, there's going to be a lot of growing pains. Now the city is growing very fast. They're being super aggressive with how they expand, which depending on who you are is a really good thing because obviously they care about the community. They want to bring in more infrastructure, bring in more homeowners, bring in more residents and take care of them. Menifee Town Center has finally brought in that movie theater. They were talking about that for about 10 to 15 years. They have a modern city hall and a ton more retail that's come in. I mean, really since post-COVID. And the Menifee Innovation District is really positioning itself to attract tech, medical, logistics jobs near the Southern Gateway. Bringing in those kinds of jobs or access to resources is going to be a magnet for future investments and growth. Okay, so now the flip side, we'll say the con, the flip side to the proposed growth and that aggressive expansion is obviously going to be the logistics of figuring out commute times, getting to and from the freeway, getting to and from these shopping centers. And if you already know, the 215 bottleneck, Newport Road, McCall Road, and Scott Road. So here's the truth for commuters. Traffic can be an absolute pain in the butt. And as I've seen a few comments online, 90 minutes to 2 hours commute times is going to be the norm. So that said, the 215 is kind of the lifeline through the city. That's how you get to and from Temecula, Riverside, Moreno Valley, Beaumont, San Diego, what have you, that or Railroad Canyon, Bundy Canyon. And it is fair to say that those absolutely jam up during traffic time. And then of course the main on-ramps, off-ramps at McCall, Newport, and Scott Road. Those can jam up pretty bad during those peak travel times or during those work hours early in the morning, later in the afternoon. So if you're commuting to Orange County, Los Angeles, Riverside, Corona, as a lot of people out this way do, I will say that's probably going to be your absolute biggest frustration about the city of Menifee. Now, with that said, the city has been very aggressive and proactive with fixing these issues. Scott Road was a pretty rinky-dink little on-ramp, off-ramp bridge over the freeway for the longest. Newport got a massive overhaul on the on-ramp, off-ramp there. And there is the upcoming Garboni Road interchange, which is designed to alleviate a lot of these traffic bottleneck congestion issues, but that's a ways away. Okay, so now let's talk lifestyle. This is going to be the most Googled, Reddited, TikToked, Instagrammed thing around the city of Menifee. And I think the biggest thing around that is going to be the heat. It can get hot out here. We get 100-degree days. Triple digits are very normal out here. And obviously with the heat comes higher electric bills. You're running the AC more, you're running fans more. I know a lot of people that kind of conserve costs, they'll do mini splits or individual room ACs, window ACs, but those draw a lot of power. So if you're coming from the coast, San Diego where the weather's always perfect, Orange County where the weather's always really good, LA where the weather's just as good. That can be one of the biggest shocks that I see from a lot of folks. But now with that said, triple digits, we really only get maybe a month and a half of it. I guess 2.5 months. And it's not constant. It'll be a few days here and there during that time. And that starts right around 4th of July and then it finishes up around late September. Now with that said, you get favorable weather most of the year. We don't really have an extreme cold season. Every 4 or 5 years, maybe a little bit of snow, nothing that would stick for more than an hour. And if you're into the outdoor stuff, you have more time for those outdoor activities, camping, hiking, water sports, dirt biking, off-roading, stuff like that. And now another thing to realize is gonna be the job reality. Menifee's unemployment rate statistically is about 5.6%. And that's as of summer 2025, which isn't terrible, but the challenge is going to be the local job economy. High-paying jobs are pretty limited, and that's why the majority of residents commute for work. So now while the Innovation District may help with that, right now it's still primarily pretty much a commuter city, which I would say is fair or true for most Inland Empire cities, especially coming east of Riverside. Okay, so moving on, next thing that is really important to know about the city of Menifee is gonna be the culture and vibe. So now Menifee is a lot more suburban, it's family friendly, it's a pretty quiet city considering all things. So now with that said, it's not really a nightlife city, you gotta travel for that or go out of area. Temecula is not too far away, Riverside is not super far away. Redlands, if you want to go a little bit further. Now, if you're looking to go to LA, you're probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And most of the restaurants, bars, what have you, are going to be chain restaurants and bars. Now, there are a lot of mom and pop shops, but the vast majority, when you go into the countryside marketplace area, the main town center, most of the stuff there is chains or small chains. Now, the positive side of that, it's safe, it's clean, everything's newer, it's growing, and we really do have a small community feel, especially for families. Which is actually pretty cool because you'll see a healthy mix of a lot of longtime residents and then, you know, people moving from Orange County, San Diego, LA, which gives the city a pretty cool little feel because there's a lot of optimism for how much it's growing and a lot of pride in, you know, what they bought into. And then you also have kind of the other side where there's a lot of folks that have lived here for 40, 50 years or second, third generation. So now we went into quite a bit. So what's the final verdict for Menifee in 2025, 2026? For home buyers, if you're looking to relocate, now you're going to get a lot more space, value, newer construction homes, or new builds in a lot of cases. And it's going to be a lot more affordable than some of the surrounding areas than say like the San Diegos, the Mariettas, the Temecula's, OCs, LAs of the world. And one of the cool things with the newer constructions, you get a lot more of the modern amenities. Driving around places like Audie Murphy, Heritage Lake, it definitely feels very modern and updated and family friendly and just super inclusive. But now with those modern amenities, you're going to pay the higher taxes like we discussed earlier. Now for investors, demand is still strong and growth has been steady. I know we've been in a weird market the last few years, but the market just kind of keeps trucking along. And by investors, I mean folks looking for maybe a home that they're going to purchase as a primary starter home and maybe hang on to it for a few years and rent it out after they get that next home. And I know we talked about some of the commute issues, the infrastructure strain, the local job shortages, or not as having as strong of a job market. But I mean, truth be told, I've been selling real estate in the Inland Empire for the last 10 years. That's a concern in almost every city out this way. And I really haven't even hit one city that bad that it would really make investing not worth it. The only time I see investing not worth it is, you know, when somebody gets in over their head or they're not going to cash flow as much as they think they are. But if you do your research and you manage your expectations the right way, investing is always going to be lucrative because real estate, as we've seen in the last several years, even going back to 2008, it either rebounds or just keeps growing. And if you have been watching for a while, Menifee has been booming for a long time. It's always been one of the more desirable areas to go to. And, you know, like we discussed, they have a lot of new projects. That town center has been growing for a long time. And comparing it to other areas, it feels like they've really planned out and mapped the community the right way. So that way all your shopping's in one area, homes are in one area. When they're master planning these new communities, it's just laid out really well. You'll have kind of your starter homes and it builds up to your move-up homes. And the space as far as empty lots, empty land is fully utilized before they move on to the next project. So with that said, Menifee is booming, still booming. I don't see it going anywhere. It's still super desirable. When I'm talking to folks like you, even from some of my other videos, my Riverside ones, my Moreno Valley ones, my Beaumont ones, the city of Menifee always comes up. Now, of course, Menifee may not be for everybody, may not be for you, may be perfect for you. One of the comments or assessments I saw was somebody referred to it as a city of trade-offs. You trade freeway time, commute time for more house, more property, more yard. You trade nights out, nightlife, what have you, for new schools, new parks, and community recreation. And now I do want to hear from you because I am really curious. I love the feedback on these things. What is the biggest factor that would make or break your move to Menifee? Is it the more affordable pricing where you can still get a new construction home? Would it be that 215 commute? That seems to be one of the biggest ones I hear in communication with folks. Is it the options as far as new construction? You know, you got stuff starting at about 1,500 square feet, going way up to, I've seen 4,500 square feet. Let me know in the comments because I do want to hear from you guys. It does mean the world to me when I get that feedback. So now that brings us to the end. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. My name again is Justin King. If there's anything I can do for you, any questions I can answer for you, whether it's Menifee, Marietta, Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga, Inland Empire is my specialty, but I go all over Southern California. My contact information is below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, what have you. I do post these videos weekly. And if there's any content that you have questions about that you're having a hard time finding information on, reach out to me. Comment below, send me an email, what have you. I would love to make a video more personalized for folks like you. So again, thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you on the next one.